Hey everybody, welcome to Reading the Bible to Cats. And this might be an unusual video because I will read from two different translations, which isn't unusual, but I'm going to be reading from the Archaeological Study Bible, and I'll read the first chapter of Ruth. And then I'm going to be reading from the Complete Jewish Study Bible, and I'll be reading Samuel chapter 1 or Shemuel 1. And why that's interesting to me is because it, in the Complete Jewish Study Bible, the order of the books are different. So I, I, I don't know. It might be interesting too. But I know that the order of the books in the Jewish Study Bible are in the order that Yeshua would have been familiar with, because that's what he would have been, familiar with, because that's how it was set up back then, 2,000 years ago. And I don't know why I used an accent to say that. Okay, and then also I'm thrilled because Mike sent a lovely gift. I'm going to try and show you. So this is a really cool, thank you, Mike. So this is El Gato, a really cool bag with a cool picture of a kitty. That's a really cool picture. Yeah, we love it. And then and also this book, Experiencing God. And then the last thing I want to show you is really cute, but okay. So, yeah, sorry everybody, I'm not the best cinematographer. Experiencing God. Sorry, that's so large. I haven't read this book, but it looks like it's a bestseller. And then the kitties are going to be excited about this. Some treats. And I think Guster is going to love these, so we'll try and get him to play. I mean, I think he's going to absolutely love this because he loves hair ties. But the thing that's so cute is Mike sent a picture of Blue, his kitty, watching Guster watching Reading the Bible to Cats. So I'm going to show you this. I love it. I mean, if any of you have your kitties watching, I would love to see the pictures. Oh, look, Henry's awake. Okay, let's see if I can get this to. Look, that's Blue, and she is watching Guster on either, I guess it's the computer or TV. Isn't that adorable? Guster, you have a fan. Well, you have lots of fans, but you have a kitty fan. Oh, yeah. And so Mike said, here's Blue watching handsome Guster recently. You have an admirer. Look, Guster's already going for the choice. So hold on. Before we begin our probably lengthy Bible session, I'm going to try and get him to play with this. Hold on. I'm going to adjust the camera. Sorry, everybody. Okay. Guster, get ready. Get set. Go. Oh, he loves it already. He went for it. He loves it. I bet he's going to pick it up. Oh, yeah. He loves it. Get it. Oh, he wants another one. Sorry, I don't know why he has cobwebs on his mouth. Guster, do you like it? He wants to see the others. Hold on. Let's do one of these squiggly things. Get it. Yeah, he likes it. Okay, I'll try and adjust the camera, but sorry, everybody. Hold on a sec. Let me get up, and then we'll read. Get it, Custer? Get it! Sorry, you're just seeing his feet. I'll throw another one. Hold on. Get it! Hope I'm not making you dizzy. He loves it. Okay, moving the camera. We'll read now. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Blue. Yeah, so I'd be interested to know if any of your kitties watch. They probably would like it when they probably like it when I'm playing with the kitties, I would imagine. Oh, he loves it. That's a fun toy. Okay, we'll watch him play. Oh, he's gonna carry it off like prey, like an apex predator. He's got it. Okay, well, let's do what I said, and we'll start with the book of Ruth. Well, the only thing is, if I do that, it's okay. We'll start with the book of Ruth. Okay. Author, this is from the Archaeological Study Bible. Author, place, and date of writing. Oh. Excuse me, Guster, that's it. You can, I know you're looking in the bag for more, but you don't want to be greedy. Go play with what you have. Okay, hold on. Henry's very low key. Henry likes, the bug. Well, he just likes bug. That's his toy. Okay, author, place, and date of writing. The author of this book is unknown. Some scholars have attributed it to Samuel, but its literary style suggests that it may date to the period of the monarchy, years after the events it describes. Generations of Israelites after the time of the judges read Ruth. The book offered the Israelites a view of true faith and piety during a time of national disunity, foreign oppression, and religious and moral degeneracy. Cultural facts and highlights. During Ruth's day, the Israelites alternated between pleading with God for help during desperate times and forgetting all about the Lord and participating in the debauchery of neighboring cultures. Yet God, working behind the scenes, continued to fulfill his plan of redemption. In a surprising way, he used Ruth, a faithful, courageous, and female foreigner, not only to impact the Jews, but also to exercise a key role in changing the world through Jesus, Yeshua. I just want to say I relate to that. It's like pleading with God for help during desperate times and forgetting all about the Lord later on. I know I've probably done that a lot in my life. Anyway, okay, so on to this other note. It says, as you read, notice the motif of faithful love among God's people. Ruth's loyalty to Naomi, the acceptance of Ruth by the citizens of Bethlehem, and Boaz's kindness toward both widows. Observe how God orchestrated seemingly insignificant details to work out his overriding purpose. Follow Naomi's transformation from emptiness to fullness. Finally, discover the story's true significance at the end of the book. Ruth, a foreigner whose faith touched God's heart, is listed in the lineage of Jesus, Yeshua, who completed God's redemptive work and fulfilled the promised blessings of God's kingdom. Yeah. In fact, it's funny. over Thanksgiving, I was talking with somebody, and he is Jewish, but through his father's side, his mother wasn't Jewish, but he's very I don't know how to put it, very keen on his identity as a Jew, but yet he was very he's he always feels a little less than because his mother wasn't Jewish. And this was over lunch, and so I said, well, I mean, Ruth wasn't Jewish, and I mean, and she's part of it's an incredible story. I mean, there's a whole book in the Bible devoted to her, and he's not a believer in Jesus or Yeshua. And I said, but and she's in the lineage of Jesus, and but he didn't take comfort from that. I don't know why, but anyway, that was a major aside. Okay, let's go back to the Bible. Did you know uncovering a man's feet and lying down was a customary nonverbal means of requesting marriage? And we'll read that in chapters 3, verses 1 through 4. Isn't that interesting? So here's a dating tip for all of you out there. If you're single and you want to meet someone, of course they won't understand anything, but if you uncover a man's feet and lie down, it's a customary nonverbal means of requesting marriage. That's interesting. I mean, I guess it means, will you marry me? But it sounds like the woman then is proposing. How interesting. Okay, also the land of a family or clan could not be sold permanently, chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. Taking off one's sandal and giving it to another was a public way of renouncing one's property rights and transferring them to another, chapter 4, verse 7. The Newsy documents, Akkadian mid-2nd millennium BC, refer to a similar custom which no longer applied during the time of Israel's judges. Yeah, I guess that was in antiquity. It was like, renouncing your property rights to remove your sandal and give it to someone. That's unusual. Themes. The book of Ruth contains the following themes. Acceptance. Ruth demonstrates the truth that participation in the family of God is not based on birth or nationality, but on faith in and obedience to God. Yeah. 2, kindness and faithfulness. Naomi's transformation from a woman in despair, chapter 1, verse 20, to a joyful person, chapter 4, verses 14 through 16, through the selfless loyalty and kindness of Ruth and Boaz, reflects that God's provision often comes through the love and faithfulness of his obedient people. And then there's a listing of all kinds of cross references. I guess I can give them. Ruth chapter 2, 20, chapter 3, verse 10, Leviticus 19, verses 9 through 10, Deuteronomy 24, verses 19 through 22. And lastly, redemption. Boaz's actions to redeem the land, Leviticus 25, verses 25 through 29. Marry Ruth, Deuteronomy 25, verses 5 through 10. And father a child to keep Naomi's family line alive, Deuteronomy 25, 6, are all symbolic of Messiah's redemption of his bride, the church. Ephesians 5, verses 25 through 27, Revelation 19, verse 1 through 8, Revelation 22, verse 17, and of his people, Titus 2, verse 14. Interesting. It's so mysterious. Okay, so yeah, that's the introduction. Let's I guess this will be a long video. Okay. Naomi and Ruth. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name was Elimelech, his wife's name Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Kilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem, Judah, and they went to Moab and lived there. Now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth. Sorry, everybody. I mispronounced it. I don't know why I called Ruth Ruth. Ruth. Take 2. After they had lived there about 10 years, both Mahlon and Kilion also died, and Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. When she heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, Naomi and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show kindness to you as you have shown to your dead and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." Then she kissed them, and they wept aloud and said to her, "We will go back with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons? Who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I'm too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters, it is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has gone out against me." At this, they wept again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. "Look," said Naomi, "your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her." But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if anything but death separates you and me." When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. So the 2 women went on until they came to Bethlehem. When they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them, and the women exclaimed, "Can this be Naomi?" "Don't call me Naomi," she told them. "Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me." So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, arriving in Bethlehem as the barley harvest was beginning. Okay, everyone, that's the end of, Ruth chapter 1. And I don't know if you can hear the dog. There's a little dog upstairs, my neighbor's upstairs, and it's really barking. Anyway, this is a very famous chapter, with very famous lines, when Ruth says, your people will be my people, and your God my God. And where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Such loyalty. Let's see if I can read a few study notes. This, well, I could read this one about verse 1. In ancient times, in the region now called Palestine and in Egypt, I wonder what. Anyway, famines were not infrequent. They were produced by lack of rainfall in due season, destructive hailstorms and rain out of season, destruction of crops by locusts and caterpillars, and the cutting off of food supplies by a siege. Pestilence often followed, and the suffering was great. Famines that were the result of natural causes are recorded as occurring during the lives of Abraham, and there are like a million scripture references about that. Ahab, okay, let's see. Joseph, Ahab, and Elijah, and Elisha, and then there's just a number of cross references. A famine produced by a siege is mentioned in 2 Kings 6:25, and Nehemiah 5:3 tells of such conditions after the return from the Babylonian captivity. The New Testament speaks of a famine over the entire Roman world, Acts 11, verse 28, and Jesus predicted famines in various places, Matthew 24, verse 7, Mark 13, verse 8, Luke 21, verse 11, a prophecy believed to have been partly fulfilled in the siege of Jerusalem by Titus and described with harrowing detail by Josephus, who stated that neither did any other city ever suffer much miseries. See famine in the ancient Near East. Okay, on page 70. About verse 20. In the ancient Near East, a person's name was often descriptive. See naming of children on page 28. Okay, I want to see that. Let's go to page 20. Page 28. Wow, okay. Hold on a sec. I want to read that one. Page 28. Where are you? Turning some pages. Turning some pages. Okay, I've got it. Guster? He really wants me to throw his toys and play with them, but Guster, we'll do that after I finish the study notes. Okay. Naming of children, Genesis. This is about Genesis 16. Ancient Near Eastern peoples attached a deep significance to the naming of children. Unlike modern parents who typically choose names often long before a child's birth on the basis of cultural popularity, family tradition, personal preference, or sound, Israelite parents tended to select names based upon circumstances surrounding the birth, or words spoken near the time of birth. For example, in Genesis 35:18, we read that Rachel, dying in childbirth, named her son Benoni, my painful son. Although Jacob renamed the baby Benjamin, son of the right hand. On rare occasions, God revealed a name to a child's parents before birth, signifying the divinely established role that the child would play in history. For example, God specified the name Isaac, meaning he laughs. This name may reflect not only Abraham's and Sarah's laughter of disbelief upon learning that they were indeed to have a son in their old age, Genesis 17, verse 17, chapter 18, verse 12, 21, and chapter 21, verse 6, but also the ultimate joy Isaac would bring as the beginning of the fulfillment of God's long-standing promise to Abraham. And then there are other references. Another clear example of God naming a child is his own son, Jesus, the Greek version of Joshua, meaning he saves, whose divinely revealed purpose was to save his people from their sins. Matthew 1:20 through 21. See also Hosea, chapter 1, verses 4, 6, and 9, for some more sobering names God designated for the offspring of the prophet Hosea. About Isaac, it is I who's speaking, not the study note. He laughs. I really think that's because he was funny. I bet Isaac was hilarious. Like, he had to be really, really funny. And I'm sure Sarah was funny. And I like to think, that's why I'm funny. you know, there's something to Jewish humor. Okay. I may not be as funny. I'm not that funny on this channel. But rest assured, in my personal life, I'm hysterical. Okay. Back to more serious matters. Let's see if there's anything else. Study notes. Okay, I don't know. This is a really long one. About verse 22. In ancient Canaan, the harvesting of grain took place in April and May, barley first with wheat a few weeks later. It involved the following steps. Okay. It goes into a lot of agricultural stuff. I guess I could read it and you might nod off to sleep, but I guess that's okay. The ripened standing grain was cut usually by men with hand sickles. There are a lot of biblical references that are cited. The grain was bound by men and women into sheaves. And then there are a lot of biblical references cited. Into sheaves have masculine subjects supporting the male role in this step. The stalks of grain left behind were gathered, called gleaning. The gleanings were to be left to the poor, as in Ruth's case, see Leviticus 23:22. The sheaves were transported to the threshing floor, usually by donkey, sometimes by cart. And there's a biblical reference. Amos 2:13. The grain was loosened from the straw, called threshing, by the treading of cattle, Deuteronomy 25:4, Hosea 10:11. The wheels of carts, Isaiah 28, verse 28, were two threshing sledges. The grain was tossed into the air with winnowing forks, called winnowing, and then another reference, so that the wind, which usually came up for a few hours in the afternoon, blew away the straw and chaff. See Psalm 1, verse 4, leaving the grain at the winnower's feet. The grain was sifted, Amos 9:9, to remove any foreign matter, such as small stones or refuse gathered with it when it was scooped up from the ground. Well, I mean, I don't have an agricultural background and I'm not schooled in the ways of ancient agricultural methods, but the Bible has so many references to this kind of thing, and in the New Testament too, and all throughout the Bible, like talking about the chaff and the threshing and the threshing floor. I mean, there's a lot. So I guess, and then there's another little note here. The grain was bagged for transportation and storage. Genesis 42-44. Both threshing and winnowing occurred on the threshing floor. Threshing floors were hard, smooth, open places prepared on either rock or clay and carefully chosen for favorable exposure to the prevailing winds, usually on the eastern side, i.e. downwind of the village. Okay, so those are all the study notes. Yeah, I'm curious about what Ruth means, what the name Ruth means. Now I'm gonna do a Google search, everyone. Hold on. Do. Ruth meaning, name. Oops, hold on. I mistyped. Ruth name, meaning in Bible. Ruth. Okay, this is from Ruth, name, meaning, origin, popularity, parents, www.parents.com. Okay. It says Ruth is predominantly a girl name of Hebrew origin, meaning friend, friendship, or compassionate friend. Oh, isn't that fitting? It is derived from the Hebrew word re'ut, meaning friend. Ruth is the central character in the book of Ruth in the Old Testament, which is one of only 2 books named after a woman. Yeah. Well, she lived up to her name. I think it's so fascinating. This is like a tangent, but how people do kind of live up to their names. You know, I don't know why I cited that. But my name is Sarah, which I guess means princess, but I really don't feel like I live up to that. I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I'm a princess and feel entitled. I don't know. But maybe that's not what a princess means. I don't know. Anyway, I just think it's fascinating about names. And I find that often people do kind of live up to their names. Yeah. Okay, so back to Ruth. She was a Moabitess. And I want to look up Moab because we've read about Moab and Moab. Oops, sorry, I misspelled that. Hold on. Moab. Yeah, this is just, Wikipedia was an ancient Levantine kingdom whose territory is located today in southern Jordan. The land is mountainous and lies alongside much of the eastern shore of the Dead Sea. The existence of the kingdom of Moab is attested to by numerous archaeological findings, most notably the Mesha stele. And then it goes on about that. You can look that up if you want. According to the Hebrew Bible, Moab was often in conflict with its Israelite neighbors to the west. In biblical narratives, according to the biblical account, Moab and Ammon, were born to Lot and Lot's elder and younger daughters, respectively, in the aftermath of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. The Bible refers to both the Moabites and Ammonites as Lot's sons, born of incest with his daughters. Yeah, you remember that. Lot, when they fled, and then the daughters thought there was no man left on the earth, and then they, Okay, so the Moabites first inhabited the rich highlands at the eastern side of the chasm of the Dead Sea, extending as far as Wadi Mujib to Wadi Hassa. I'm massacring the pronunciations. From which country they expelled the Emim, the original inhabitants. See Deuteronomy 2, verse 11. And they themselves were afterward driven southward by warlike tribes of Amorites who had crossed the river Jordan. These Amorites, described in the Bible as being ruled by King Sihon, confined the Moabites to the country south of the river of Arnon, which formed the northern boundary. Numbers 21, verse 13, Judges 11, verse 18. God renewed his covenant with the Israelites at Moab before the Israelites entered the promised land. Deuteronomy 29, verse 1. Moses died there, Deuteronomy 34, verse 5, prevented by God from entering the promised land. He was buried in an unknown location in Moab, and the Israelites spent a period of 30 days there in mourning. Deuteronomy 34, verse 6. I'll keep reading. And as I'm reading, I'm thinking that I will just read that second chapter in another video that I was going to read from Samuel or Shemuel. So I'll devote that to another, video. So we'll just go along this rabbit trail. Where else? Okay. God renewed his covenant with the Israelites at Moab before the Israelites entered. Oh, I already read that. Okay. According to the book of Judges, the Israelites did not pass through the land of the Moabites, Judges 11, verse 18, but conquered Sihon's kingdom and his capital at Heshbon. After the conquest of Canaan, The relations of Moab with Israel were of mixed character, sometimes warlike and sometimes peaceable. With the tribe of Benjamin, they had at least one severe struggle in union with their kindred, the Ammonites and the Amalekites. Judges 3, verses 12 through 30. The Benjamite Shophet Ehud ben Gera assassinated the Moabite king Eglon and led an Israelite army against the Moabites at a ford of the Jordan River, killing many of them. The book of Ruth testifies to friendly relations between Moab and Bethlehem, one of the towns of the tribe of Judah. By his descent from Ruth, David may be said to have been, oh, it is I who's speaking, not Wikipedia. That's what I told my friend, that King David, that Ruth was, King David came from Ruth, who was a Moabite. So I was trying to encourage him to know that, it's being Jewish is bigger than like absolutely pure DNA. You know what I mean? So, but it didn't work anyway. So, but yeah, King David, that Ruth was his grandmother, I believe. So, and he's, quintessentially Jewish, King David, but Ruth was his grandmother and she was a Moabite. Okay, by his descent from Ruth, David may be said to have been part Moabite. Yeah. He committed his parents to the protection of the king of Moab, who may have been his kinsman, when hard pressed by King Saul. 1 Samuel 22, verses 3 through 4. But here, all friendly relations stop forever. The next time the name is mentioned is in the account of David's war, who made the Moabites tributary. 2 Samuel chapter 8, verses 2, 1 Chronicles 18, verse 2. Moab may have been under the rule of an Israelite governor during this period. Among the exiles who returned to Judea from Babylonia were a clan descended from Pahath Moab, whose name means ruler of Moab. The Moabite Ruth is regarded as a prototype of a convert to Judaism. Oh, this is long. It goes on and on. Trying to think. Maybe you should look this up, Moab, in Wikipedia, and then you can read the rest of it. But I'm trying to pick and choose what I want to read out of it. According to the biblical, there's just a lot. According to the biblical account, the crimson-colored deceived. Oh, sorry, everybody. I just messed that reading up. Let me move on. I wanted to get. Okay, I'm going to read this part. Allusions to Moab are frequent in the prophetical books. Isaiah 25, verse 10, Ezekiel 25, verses 8 through 11, Amos 2, verses 1 through 3, Zephaniah 2, verses 8 through 11. 2 chapters of Isaiah 15 and 16 and one of Jeremiah 48 are devoted to the burden of Moab, its prosperity and pride, which the Israelites believed incurred the wrath of God, are frequently mentioned. Isaiah 16:6, Jeremiah 48:11 through 29, Zephaniah 2, verse 10, and their contempt for Israel is once expressly noted, Jeremiah 48:27. Moab would be dealt with during the time of the Messiah's rulership according to the prophets. The book of Zephaniah states that Moab would become a permanent desolation. Moab is also made reference to in the 2 Maccabean, a book considered canonical to the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. Okay, well, that goes on about that. And Jewish tradition. Okay, maybe I'll read a little bit of that. According to the Hebrew Bible, the Moabites were not hospitable to the Israelites who exited Egypt and hired Balaam to curse them. As a consequence, male Moabites were excluded by Torah law from marrying Jewish women. The term 10th generation, used in connection with that prohibition, is considered an idiom used for an unlimited time as opposed to the third generation, which allows an Egyptian convert to marry into the community. The Talmud expresses the view that the prohibition applied only to male Moabites who were not allowed to marry born Jews or legitimate converts. Female Moabites, when converted to Judaism, were permitted to marry with only the normal prohibition of a convert marrying a Cohen priest applying. However, the prohibition was not followed during the Babylonian captivity, and Ezra and Nehemiah sought to compel a return to the law because men had been marrying women who had not been converted at all. Ezra chapters 9, verses 1 through 2 and 12, Nehemiah 13, verses 23 through 25. The heir of King Solomon was Rehoboam, the son of an Ammonite woman, Naamah. 1 Kings 14, verse 21. Okay, and then it goes on. On the other hand, the marriages of the Bethlehem Ephrathites of the tribe of Judah, Mahlon and Chilion, to the Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth, and the marriage of the latter after her husband's death to Boaz, who by her was the great grandfather of David. Oh, maybe she was the great grandmother, are mentioned with no shade of reproach. The Talmudic explanation, however, is that the language of the law applies only to Moabite and Ammonite men. Hebrew, like all Semitic languages, has grammatical gender. The Talmud also states that the prophet Samuel wrote the book of Ruth to settle the dispute, as the rule had been forgotten since the time of Boaz. Another interpretation is that the book of Ruth is simply reporting the events in an impartial fashion, leaving any praise or condemnation to be done by the reader. Gosh, and then it goes on. If you want to look this up on Wikipedia, just search under Moab. Yeah, Moab. Okay, so the book of Zephaniah states that Moab. Oop, my battery's running low. Let's see, how much do I don't know. Okay. Where am I? Oh, the book of Zephaniah states that Moab will assuredly be like Sodom, and the sons of Ammon like Gomorrah, ground overgrown with weeds and full of salt mines and a permanent desolation. Zephaniah 2, verse 9. The prophecy regarding their defeat by the Israelites is linked to the conquest by the Jewish Hasmonean king Alexander Janus. During that period, the Moabites were called the Arabian Moabites. Well, okay. There's a lot about Moab. So, yeah, like I said, if you want to read the whole thing, just do a search under Moab, Moab. But yeah, so that all in a nutshell, Ruth was a Moabitess. And I think there was some kind of there was a lot of, just pleasure with the Moabites. And I don't know. We'll do our research on that one. But it's heartening that Ruth was a Moabitess and that she, is, the Messiah came through her, Yeshua, Jesus, and King David. And that says a lot. Anyway, also, she just seemed like she was so loving and loyal, and she really loved Naomi. And I love Naomi, how Naomi is so direct. If by the way, if the camera cuts off, forgive me, but I'm still going to post this video because my battery's running low. Anyway, yeah, she's so direct, and she, let me read what she says. I just want to read it again. Yeah, when she says, "Don't call me Naomi," she told them, "Call me Mara," which I believe means bitter, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me. I mean, she was bitter, you know. She lost her husband and her two sons, and the place was full of famine. And I mean, she just had her daughter-in-law, but she was so depressed she didn't even want them to follow her along. And she was kind of funny when she said, "What are you going to do? You know, I can't have another son. What are you going to do? Wait until he grows up? That's ridiculous, you know." But yet Ruth was like, "No, where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people, your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried." And she was just so devoted. Anyway, everybody, hope to meet her one day in heaven, in glory. Guster is looking at me really funny. I wonder if I can turn the camera. If I turn it, he's going to stop looking. Hold on. Oops, sorry, you see some stuff there. Yeah. Isn't that funny? Guster, Guster, where you go, I will go. Aw, he squeezed his eyes. Love you too. Your people will be my people, but my God will be your God. I'm sorry to say, but I think your God is my God anyway. Okay, let's say a prayer. And we'll read, hold on. We'll read Samuel next time. Guster, Guster, your people will be my people. And my God is your God. And where you go, oh, he's going to come over. He wants a hug. Okay, everybody, let's just. Okay, anyway, enough with the shenanigans. Let's say a prayer. Lord, thank you for your word and just the beautiful story of Ruth that we're reading about, and how encouraging that is, that you make something beautiful out of a mess. And just even thinking of her heritage and Lot and the two daughters and the family dysfunction there in that cave, and and yet, for all its mess and problems, Ruth came out of that, and through her, King David and the Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus. And she just had a beautiful heart and was so faithful. I pray for everybody watching or listening, and I pray for myself too, that you would encourage our hearts through your word. And there's a lot going on in the world. But I pray, Lord, that you bless them. And if there's anxiety and depression, I just pray you would lift it. And I pray the same for myself when I go through bumps in the road, which I go through a lot, it seems like. And I pray, Lord, for what's happening in Syria now. Pray for the Christians there and just protection. I know Syria figures prominently in the scriptures, and there's prophecy concerning Syria and the Syrian people. And I forget what the prophecies are, but they're there and we'll encounter them. But I know that you are faithful to your people, Lord, in Syria, and I pray that you help them in all the chaos that's occurring right now. And I pray for the peace of Jerusalem and for the peace of Israel, and for the people of Israel and the animals and the cats that wander around, because I think there are some stray cats there around the Western Wall, that you bless them, Lord, and protect them. Pray for the Christians in Gaza, that you provide for them and protect them. And Gus just trying to open the treats right now. He's trying to open the treats. Oh, that Mike gave us. Anyway, back to the prayer, Lord. So I just pray all these things. I pray for the hostages too, Lord, that they would be miraculously found and handed over, released, and freed. And I pray for joy. Pray all these things in Yeshua HaMashiach's name, in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen, everybody. Well, maybe I'll throw a treat. I'm going to open this. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I can't open it because I have to use the scissors. I don't think. Oh, well, I can't open it. I have to go get a scissors, but Guster was trying to eat it. Okay, let me try and get a picture of Guster right now. He's leaning up against the Bible. Hold on. Guster, were you trying to get into the treats? Was that you? I don't know why my kitty voice took a dark turn there. Guster? Guster, don't be ashamed. I'll give you a treat. He's leaning against the Bible. Anyway, everybody, I'll talk to you later. Oh, thank you for the prayers, the continued prayers. I still need prayer because I don't know, just need prayer. I feel like I'm coming to, oh, this is a long video. I just looked at the time. I feel like I'm coming to an acceptance of whatever, in terms of my kidney function, which hopefully it'll improve by the time I take more labs. But I feel like maybe I'm coming to an acceptance. But I also need prayer for, I don't know, just more. Today I didn't have a lot of joy today. I felt a little lonely. Yeah, I don't like that feeling. But yeah, prayer for that. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Love ya. Bye.